Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing Workout, our daily workout for our mind, 11 a.m. UK time, every morning, Monday to Friday. My name is Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman, and I welcome you to the workout. So let's see who's going to join us in the house this morning. Maybe you're from the UK, maybe you're from the rest of the world. Tell us where you're from. Write in, say hello, let's join, let's build a community, let's build a network of support for each other, okay? So let's see what happens this morning. Okay, so we've got somebody in. So as soon as you're in, please let us know who you are, where you're coming from, what your name is. Let's build this community. Don't forget to like, share, tag, do a watch party with your groups and your network. Okay, so let's bring them on. We've got 2 people on board. Let's build this community this morning. It's Tuesday, the 7th of April. Okay, so let's build this community. Let's get as many people on here as possible. So share, like, tag, do a watch party. Let's get ourselves going. All right, so any comments, just let me know you're here. Stick it in the comments, say hello. And as we're waiting for people to join up, we'll be starting in probably about 1 or 2 minutes. So in the meantime, just let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're part of our community of the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing work out every morning here. So put your name in. Don't be shy. This is about courage. This is about emotional courage. This is about dealing with what we've got. This is about building skills. This is about helping each other. All right. So let's get going. So please share, like, tag, do a watch party. Tell me you're here. Don't be shy. Stick your name in the comments and let's see how we get on this morning. We have a wonderful workshop this morning, a wonderful workout. We're going to be doing mindful exercises. We're going to be talking about how we deal with all the anxieties and all the distresses that we're going through at the moment, if we're going through any. And we're going to be talking about maybe opportunities that we've got and why we shouldn't rush, why we shouldn't overdo it during these times of lockdown. So got plenty to talk about today. Please put in the comments that you're here. Please tell me how you're getting on, and we'll get together and we'll start in about 1 minute time. So please, oh yeah, we're getting more people. Come on, tell me who's in the house, who's here, so that we can actually communicate with each other. This is about communication. It's about interaction. All right. So let me just check from my point of view So Jane Silver is in the house. Well done, Jane. Thanks for coming in. All right, so share, like, tag, do a watch party. We're going to be talking about how we deal with what we're going through right now. All right, so lots of us are going through different things. Some of us are thinking this is great for opportunities. Some of us are enjoying the rest. Some of us are really worried and the distress signals are really going up. Some of us are having difficulty with dealing with the children in the house, keeping them busy. It's not easy. The school holidays now, already been homeschooling for a while. Tammy Doyle is in the house. She's watching. Wonderful. Fantastic. This is amazing. All right. So let's get people into the, oh, we've even got a like. Well done. Get them into the house and let's discuss it. So people got lots and lots of different ways of reacting to what we're going through just now. It's a different time. It's a different routine. It's a different way of working. Mary Moore is in the house. Mary, good day to you. Fantastic. Tammy Doll says, hi, Dov. Wonderful. Let's just check this out. What Tammy? So Tammy Doll says, hi, Dov. Fantastic. So this is really good. So let's get your comments. Let's get them on screen. All right. With the new software we've got here for the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing workout. So basically, we've all got different reactions. There's a lot of pressure, people thinking that we've got to really do something. Don't waste any minute of the day. We've got to really get up early. We've got to keep going. We've got to get everybody. No, 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 no. We can slow down. There's change going on, okay? When there's change, as much change as we're going through, it's really important that we handle this and manage it properly, because as soon as there's this much change, our brain is going to go into hypervigilant mode, right? Our tolerance is going to go down, our vigilance is going to go up, our tempers are going to go shorter. We have to manage this carefully, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. All right, guys? Really a marathon, not a sprint, because it's not going to end tomorrow, okay? At the moment, there's no end game. This is part of the distress that we're going through, that we do not have when it's going to stop. Let me tell you, in the elite forces in the army, one of the tests that they do for them is they put them into a high-pressure situation for a number of days, but they do not tell them when it's going to end, right? They do not tell them when it's going to end, because this adds a lot of pressure. Now, I've been to a number of these inductions that are in the high elite forces, where they put you into this situation. They work you really hard. They give you a lot of tasks, a lot of challenges, a lot of changes. Your mind's going all over the place, but they do not tell you when you're going to finish. And not telling you when you're going to finish is a deliberate action, because it adds a lot of distress, and they want to see how much you can put up with all this distress. All right. So obviously, there's no deliberate action going on right now, but the similar metaphor here is that we don't know when it's going to end. And so we have to acknowledge in ourselves, okay? Be kind to ourselves, acknowledge that because we don't know what the end game is here, it adds distress. That distress that it adds lowers our tolerance, so we get a little bit edgy, okay? So we might be getting edgy with the kids, we might be getting edgy with our spouse or anybody else who's in the household with you. You might have your parents there. So having this kind of on edge, we have to acknowledge it. We have to understand that it's there, and we have to understand that it's there in others as well. All right? So it's not just about acknowledging our own distresses, but we need to know that other people in the household, including little children, are going through their own distresses. All right? So slow down. Okay, this is really, really important. Slow down. All right? You'll have the time, and you can use this time for being creative, and you can use this time for starting new projects and whatever you have to do. If you're continuing to work as normal, but you can work from home, then that's great. But you might have the added distresses of, first of all, you're working on your own. Maybe you're not used to that. You're working with other people in the house, and you're not used to that either. You might have to take care of children as well. And so it's not just working as usual, all right? There will be a small amount of us that are working in the house with the children, and that's kind of what they've been used to up until now. Well, that's fantastic if you can carry on with that. But the problem is that we're not really allowed outside, and it looks like things might get a little bit more stricter as we go along, like has happened in other countries. I'd just like to say at this point, as people are joining in, that of course our Prime Minister Boris Johnson is in intensive care in hospital. So I'd like on our behalf and on my behalf to send him a full and speedy recovery. It's not easy having the Prime Minister in hospital. It's obviously not easy for him, and we wish him well and a speedy recovery. But this can add to our extra distresses. All right. I know that it makes me a little bit more anxious. I can acknowledge it. I can feel it in my body that even the Prime Minister. Okay. So this virus and disease makes no distinction between this person and this person. All right. And this is something we need to understand. If there's anything that we can understand out of what we're going through right now, is this is a great leveling enlightenment that we're going through. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. This is a worldwide unifying event at the end of the day. Every person in every country has experiencing this in his own way, but we're all going through the same thing. It's all very frightening. There's a lot of people dying out of this. All right. Now, whether you go towards the leaning towards the side of, oh, well, we shouldn't be doing all this lockdown stuff, or whether you're leaning towards the side of, well, we should even be locking down more, and these people who are not social distancing are traitors and so on, that's not the issue what I'd like to talk about. What the issue is that all of this adds extra distress to our quality of life. And we need to manage this. We can't just shove it under the carpet, because then it will escalate more and more. All right. So that's what we're all about here. So share, like, tag. Let's get people inside here. Let's get people in the room here. You can help people. You can actually help people by share, like, and tagging this. All right. This is about getting people in here so they can learn new skills and they can learn how to manage this. All right. So what happens basically is that if we don't divide what's in our control and what's not in our control, and you probably, if you're joining me on a regular basis, you're going to be hearing this again and again and again. Okay, this is like going to the gym. This is like building muscle. All right, this is about repeating and repeating and repeating. It's about doing and exercising and practicing what you learn in here. Okay, so that's really important to practice what you're learning. Okay, so one of the things we were learning up until now is that we need to divide what's in our control and what's not in our control. All right, so if we examine and are curious into our own behavior and those around us, just like a small child is curious what's going on, we'll realize that a lot of our worry, a lot of our anxiety, a lot of our distress comes from things that are not in our control. Okay? We worry about other people, which is perfectly natural, but we cannot control what happens to other people. We worry whether we're going to get infected or not. At the end of the day, we can do a lot of prevention, and we'll talk about that. But at the end of the day, whether we get infected by that virus or not is really not in our control. It's not in our control what the government does, unless you are part of that government. But all of us, are basically not part of that. It's not in our control what happens in the next city. It's not in our control what happens next door. Okay, these are a lot of the things that we worry about. We worry about our family. We worry about our friends. We worry about our neighbors. Lilach has joined us. Excellent, Lilach. Fantastic. So we worry about all these things, but these things are really not in our control, right? What is in our control? So anybody who's been watching this knows as soon as I ask the question, what's in our control? Yeah, wiggling our fingers. Now that sounds really silly, I know. That sounds really stupid. Yeah, okay, so you can wiggle your fingers. There's a massive deadly virus going around, and all you can say, Dov, is wiggle your fingers. Well, no, it's not about that. It's about our brain, all right? Our brain knows that there are certain things that are really, really quite under our control, and that is we can move our body, we can stretch, we can give signals to our brain that we're feeling a lot safer, and that is by opening our body, by making that chest area open and vulnerable. But it gives signals to our brain that we are in a safe mode. All right, we can do breathing, and the breathing puts us into a safe mode, especially the vagal breathing that we were taught by Yori Gidron. So if you're watching the Almost Daily, tonight we've got 2 guests, but we do really one a day. We bring on experts of the world who are giving us advice. So we have 2 experts coming on today, one at 4 p.m. UK time and one at 8 o'clock UK time. All right, so we've got Richard Bennett and Jim Lucas who are going to give over to us of their knowledge and wisdom. So Philippa Stanley and Jackie Needleman are in the house. Come on, wonderful, excellent. Give us a hello in the comments. Give us a like, a share, a tag, one of these hearts going up. All sorts of emojis. Come on, let's get this into a little bit of community. All right. Once we've divided what's in our control and what's not in our control, and what's majorly in our control is our bodies, our breathing. We can take a deep breath and hold it and let that out. Now, that is not just a yoga woo-woo kind of exercise. This is from a neurological point of view, from a physiological point of view, from a psychological point of view, directly affects the vagal nerve. Okay? The vagal nerve is coming out of our brain, going into all sorts of places in our body. Our heart, our lungs, our gut, our face muscles, our throat, our inner ear. All these places that are associated with hypervigilance during high stress situations. Okay, and if they start working overboard, they're going to hijack the front part of our brain, the thinking part of our brain, and then we're going to be in trouble, because then we're not going to be able to think straight, and we're going to be reacting on real basic brain instincts. And that can help us, but generally speaking, in the situation we're in now, it's not going to necessarily help us in our own favor. So we want to keep the front part of our brain online all the time. And one of the ways of doing that is lowering that hypervigilance, lowering that emergency response. Okay, so you might find yourself being short-tempered and getting angry. You might find yourself getting really shaky and frightened. All right, so these are normal reactions. It is a frightening situation. It's an unknown situation. Our brain is not sure what's going on, but at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're in control. We are driving the bus here and not letting our emotions sweep us away into a place that we don't know what's going to happen. And one of the most simple ways of doing that is the breathing exercise. So breathing through our nose for 3 in. Hold it in our lungs for 2. 1, 2, and out for 5. Slowly out the mouth. You'll just feel that marinating almost immediately. And if you do that another 3 times, in, hold, and out. Breathe in as if you're smelling a beautiful, fresh flower. Breathe out as if you're going to blow a candle out. Okay, breathing in, hold, and breathing out. One more time, breathing in, hold, and breathing out. And just wait, let that marinate round, keep a straight back, keep an open posture. Okay, so let's get some comments coming in. Let's get some, how are you doing today? Write a little bit about what's going on in your life, and let's see if we can help you out here. So put in any kind of comments that you've got. What's going on in your life? How are you doing? What situation you're finding yourself in today? Okay, so what's going on with you right now? Right? Let me know what's happening. How are you guys doing today? Okay, so let me know. All right, and then we'll maybe build an exercise or a skill around that to help you directly. All right, so as soon as you've got something that you can let me know how you're doing, then we can do that for you. All right. So Mark Webster was in the house last night. Mark Webster is a specialist in dealing with recovery, in dealing with how to get over habits and challenging behaviors that have not necessarily been in our interest. And one of the things that he taught us basically yesterday, and I really recommend that we put this into our schedule, into our routine now, while we're in this situation. And that is when we arise in the morning, whenever that is for each individual, then we ask ourselves, what is the direction of the day? What is important for me to do today? All right, so we take this gently and we can share this with our family. So if it's a family situation, we can ask the family over breakfast, what's important for us as a family to do today? What's important for us as a family? What matters for us today? All right. What matters for me to do today? All right. What matters for me with the children today? What direction do I want to take? Do I want to play out today towards what's important to me, towards what matters to me? Or do I want to choose the behaviors that I do today that's going to take me away from that kind of thing? All right. So then we kind of have an idea, we have a compass, we have something to base what we do on. So let's say it's important for me to look after my family and it's important for me to earn some money. And so therefore today it has to include working, earning some money, doing my job. All right. If that's not your situation, maybe it's important for me to have a good relationship with my children. That's my baseline. It's important for me to be a good parent and to have an interactive and loving and caring relationship with my children. That's the direction that I'm going to take today. And in that direction, in that path, now I'll know if I'm on the path of value or not. If what I'm doing today is not in line with building a relationship with my children, having an interactive and caring and loving relationship with them, then I'll know I've gone on my path of value, my path of what's important. And if I'm doing things actions and doing things with them and being caring and loving and making them meals and just being there for them when they need me, then I know I'm on my path of value. And we can have a number of directions like that. So what is important to me regarding the other members of the household that are with me? All right. So with my spouse, I want to have a loving, caring relationship with my spouse. My spouse is working really hard at this time and has high stresses. So it's important to me as the partner of my spouse, whether you're a husband or wife, or just a girlfriend or boyfriend or partner, whatever you are, to support them. So I understand and I have loving kindness that they are having a high stressful time. So what can I do to contribute to their well-being? That's my path of value. And so then we can pick actions during the day that will be placed along that path of value. All right. So that's how we can actually plan out our day. And then in that day, we can have routine stops that we all come together for breakfast. We come together halfway through the morning. We come together at lunchtime. We come together halfway through the afternoon. We come together early evening and so on. And there's points throughout the day that gives us a routine, and every day is the same. We need to start building some sort of routine into our life. We're in this a little bit for the medium term, okay? We're already going in the UK for the third week. So it's really important that we build in routine, all right? And we have some sort of boundaries going around our life at this moment. It's really important because we don't want to become institutionalized. Institutionalized means that we can become disorientated, not know the difference between day and night. Our times of going to bed gets all muddled up. We end up going to bed in the middle of the night and getting up in the middle of the day, and slowly we'll become nocturnal. All right, so that's really important that we have a proper day. Day is day, night is night. that we know which day it is, okay? So today's Tuesday, the 7th of April. We need to convey this to our children. They're used to knowing what day it is because of their routine and their schedule. They go to school on this day, so it must be a school day, and they have maths or English or whatever it is they study on a particular day and a particular time, so they are oriented into their day. And then they know at the weekend they're not going to school, so therefore it's the weekend and so on. But when every day is the same, when every day is always the same four walls, the same scenery, you lose time and you lose orientation of where you are. So it's really important to build into your own routine and to those in the household that which day it is, morning activities, afternoon activities, evening activities, and night activities, so that we can orientate ourselves to around the day as well. All right, so that's very important. All right, share, like, and tag. Let's see who we can get in the house. Share, like, and tag. We've got a lot more. We've got another 10 minutes or so. So share, like, and tag. Watch party this. Let's get some of this great information out to as many people as possible. Let me know you're here. Stick something in the comments and just let me know that you are here and what is going on with you in your lives. All right. So really important things to understand is that when we, wash our hands and we practice social or physical distancing, and that we are, basically going along with the recommendations and the guidelines that we're taught. All right. It's really, really important for us to understand and to convey this to the younger people in our family, that this is really, really positive action. This is committed action towards something of real importance. All right. It's not just, wash your hands, it's a chore. No, it's not also just about, keep yourself clean because you might get infected. Of course, that is one of the main reasons. But it's not just about us. When we do it, we're protecting those in our family. When we abide by these guidelines, we're supporting our communities. We're supporting our cities. We're supporting our society. We're supporting the health services, in order not to overburden them with more and more infected people. So it's a real contribution to society. It's a lot bigger than just washing your hands. It's a lot bigger than just keeping those 2 meters apart at least. Okay, so these things are really, really important that we install into our family, that there's a real social contribution side of washing our hands and keeping 2 meters apart. It's not just about, I don't really care now, and this is a lot of nonsense, and I'll just do what I want anyway. We can always do what we want, right? I mean, who's going to stop you? If you break the law, then you can do that too. When I was in law school, the first lesson we were taught was there's all the laws in every country that tells you what you're forbidden to do. And alongside that, on the other side of the page, it tells you everything that if you do any of these forbidden things, then this is the penalty that you will pay. So basically, it was described as a shopping list, as a price list. If you do this, this is what you pay. If you do this, this is what you pay. All right. So if you want to do this, no one's going to stop you, but this is the price list you will eventually pay. All right. So no one's going to stop you doing anything. But if we have a contribution to ourselves, our families, and our society, if we want to be part of something, want to belong to the society, and believe me, human beings need to belong to groups. We are social beings. We cannot live on our own. We will die if we live on our own. Okay, if all we're interested in is ourselves, we will have serious, serious problems. So we need to be part of a group. We need to be part of society. We need to contribute and receive also back from them. It's a two-way street. So washing our hands and keeping social regulations as we have recommended them is really important for ourselves, our families, our communities, and society. and the institutions of society that are involved in this, mainly the health service. All right. And you've got to remember that if we are not going by these social norms, then other people have to come in and intervene, like maybe the police force and so on. And that starts to get really, we start to endanger other people. So great. So Tammy's saying, I'm taking this time to self-care, but also help others. And isn't much different to what I normally do. The only thing missing is my family and friends. Okay, so the only thing missing is my family and friends. Tammy, first of all, wonderful spirit of attitude. All right, so you are taking time to self-care, and that is really, really important. Okay, just like as we've learned when we're on airplanes, we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we can help others, and that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we have to make sure that we're healthy and that we're fit, and that means physically and emotionally. So taking self-care is really important. Coming on the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing workout is part of self-care. So it's really great that you're doing this, and anything else that you're doing that takes care of yourself. And then you'll have the strength, emotional and physical, to help others, and that's what you're doing. But what I want us to remember is that not having family and friends close and being able to be around us, even though we can connect with them on the telephone, we can connect with them in all sorts of teleconferencing, which is good, our brain registers that this is something that's missing in our lives. Okay? And our brain doesn't like that, right? Our brain likes the fact that we have that social connection, and who better to have a social connection with than our family and friends, all right? So not having that physical closeness with our family and friends is taxing on our emotional selves. Now, as we said at the very beginning, we have to define what's in our control and what's not in our control, and this is not in our control. Okay, first of all, the part of the brain that's going to be reacting to this is the basic part of the brain that's not going to ask us any questions, right? So we're going to feel it possibly in our body. We're going to feel it in our emotions. We're going to have thoughts possibly going through our head that says, I'm really missing my family and friends. Or we might have all sorts of justifications. Oh, I'm really missing them, but I'll be all right and everything's will be fine. And I'll try and convince myself that everything is okay. And it probably at the end of the day is okay. But we need to acknowledge that our body and mind is responding to this. So we've learned to have that kindness using our hand, just to put it over our heart and acknowledge that we are missing our family and friends at this time. And just slow down for a minute. Slow down from the self-care, slow down from the helping others just for a minute and acknowledge this. I'm missing my family and friends. And connect, have the emotional courage to connect to that sad emotion. It won't stop us from doing things to help others. It won't stop us from continuing the routine that we need to do today according to our path of value that we discussed earlier, the direction that we want to go in. But just taking that minute, that moment to acknowledge that we have a sense of sadness, that we're missing our family and friends, missing having them close by, missing being able to give them a hug, missing that sense of touch with them, missing being able to go and visit them physically or have them visit us. We are social beings, and it's okay just to sit for a minute with that. And with that, then we attach and we take that along with us, that acknowledgement. We take it along with us now on that path of what's important to us. what's the direction we want to take today? Taking along with us that acknowledgement that we have a sense of sadness too. And then we attach ourselves to what was important. What is it that we want to do today? What do we want to do with ourselves? What do we want to do with our children? What do we want to do with the rest of the people that are in our house? So thank you very much for that, Tammy. That was great. So Mary says, I was addicted to social contact. Party animal. Mary was a party animal. I really overcome it. Developing my mindful power. I don't need others. I have me. Okay, so wonderful. First of all, to acknowledge the fact that we can be addicted to social contact. Okay, it's just can be another stimulus, right? So one of the things that we're hearing right now is a lot of people are getting bored, right? I'm bored, what will I do? I'm bored, what will I do? And it's driving me crazy. Now, my good friend Sandy Mann is a researcher in boredom. Can you believe it? Obviously not keeping her busy, right? So, and she says that boredom is a creative state to be in. It's actually gets bad press, and that it's all right to be in that boredom stage. But when people say, I'm bored, I wish I had something to do, what they're talking about really is not boredom. What they're talking about really is withdrawal symptoms from multiple stimuli that we're used to having. Okay, so we're getting stimulus here, we're going out here, we're having parties here, we're meeting people here, we're going to the pub here, we're going to this party, we're going to this, activity, we're doing yoga here, we're doing gym here. It's constant stimulation. And just like Mary has acknowledged in herself, that stimulation for her was that social contact. The party animal, as she called it, right? But she has managed to examine that behavior and ask herself, I would imagine, is this behavior useful to me? Is it healthy for me? And from what I understand from you, Mary, is that you started to develop that mindful power, as you call it, that you not necessarily need that amount of stimulation. And possibly we find when we do it for stimulation purposes that the actual friendships, and you can come back on this with me, Mary, if this is something that you've experienced, that these social relationships under that kind of addicted to social contact context, the relationships are more superficial. They're not necessarily deep, profound relationships with friends. They become superficial stimulus relationships. Some people we can drop a hat. Some people we become friendly with. As long as we're getting that stimulus, we're okay. Yeah, so Mary says, right, exactly. And that becomes superficial. And when we have these superficial relationships in our life, the quality of our life goes down. And we find it becomes empty. And so Mary is great. So she's come on and really, really thank you for sharing that. And I think that would probably help others as well that are in a similar situation to you. And just having that emotional courage for saying that to me on this platform is wonderful. It shows that you have a certain sense of self that's becoming stronger in you. And the only thing that I would pick you up on a little bit, if you don't mind me, Mary, is that I don't need others. Now, I'm sure that there's, bits in there that because we're just, it's just a small text. But yeah, you do have you, and as we said before with Tammy, is that we need to have that self-care first. But we need to understand that we do need other people in our life, right? So, but it's building that profound relationships. It doesn't have to be many people. It can be one. It can be two. Maybe three. Doesn't have to be hundreds of people. Just building that profound connection, right? Building that support where you can help others and they can help you. And that's a beautiful, beautiful place to be. And it takes time, and it's okay. And just even coming on here and building kind of a relationship, even though it's superficial, virtual relationships, I know that. But to have that support where you can share part of your life with others is really important. So really, really thank you, Mary. That's been worth doing this whole workout this morning just for you to come on and teach us what you've just taught us. So Tammy says, I agree, Mary, it's all in your mindset. I was the same, never at home. Yeah. A lot of us go through this. A lot of us go through this. And I'm going to take your metaphor, Tammy, about being at home. Being at home could be being at home with the physical home, the bricks and mortar. But being at home can also be being at home with yourself. Being comfortable with what's under your skin. Being comfortable with me. Right? For a long time, me personally was very uncomfortable with me. I took my stimulus from working. I was working 18 hours a day. I was really getting into it. I loved it. It was fantastic. Everything was brilliant. But I wasn't comfortable with me. I wasn't comfortable with the way I looked. I wasn't comfortable with the way I thought. I wasn't comfortable with how I was with other people. I would never, ever have done what I'm doing now. Nobody would ever know what I felt. I would never share anything with anybody. There was a mask. But now being at home with myself, is a beautiful place to be. It's a beautiful place to be. And I find that when I'm home with myself, I can also be much, much more authentic with those around me. My relationships are open, they're deep, they're profound. I support others and I receive support from others. I accept support from others. And that's something that, as Mary said earlier, we need to work towards. It takes effort. It takes practice to be at home. And I think that's something we're all learning now. We're all confined to our homes. And so we're being almost forced into getting to know what it's like to be at home from all sorts of perspectives. So Marie says, exactly, I enjoy home now. I have home in my mind. Wonderful. Home in mind, home in body. We get to know and get to be familiar with all these experiences, because a lot of our challenging behavior comes from all these kind of physical, horrible and uncomfortable experiences that we have in our body. We have uncomfortable experiences in our mind, these horrible, disturbing thoughts. We have uncomfortable experiences in our body. Sometimes we get that butterfly feeling in our stomach. I sometimes get it in my jaw. Some people get it in their shoulders. And that is what we try to run away from. We try to run away from our thoughts. We try to run away from our body and the horrible sensations. And so what we're learning from the experts, what we're learning here in the Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing workout, is just to sit with them, to get to know them, to understand that they're part of our home. They're the others inside our home. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but we need to get familiar with them. We need to get familiar with these thoughts and not run away from them and not try to fight them. It's part of our brain. We need to get familiar with these things in our body, these uncomfortable sensations, that our emotions go up and down like waves. And so we need to learn to surf them rather than to try to fight the waves. You ever been to the beach and tried to push the waves back? It doesn't work, right? The more you try to push the wave back, the more it's going to go over you. So you learn to surf the waves and use those emotions, the good ones, the sad ones, the happy ones, the joyful ones. Let's use them to build the quality in our life. All right. So, wow, we're really on time now. Total Mind Fitness Wellbeing workshop, workout. Wow, Mary, you've taken me to a real crazy place. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Thank you for those who really contributed. Thank you for those who are watching. Thank you for those who were liking and loving and tagging and sharing with your watch parties. tomorrow at 11 a.m., same time, same place. But I want to remind you, tonight is the last of the lecture series until after the holiday period. So we have two on today. We have Richard Bennett at 4 p.m. UK time. We have Jim Lucas at 8 p.m. UK time. Two great mind and body people, two great psychologists, two great guys with lots of knowledge and lots of wisdom and lots of experience, and they're going to be passing that over to us later on today. So please join me then for a wonderful virtual conference with these two wonderful people. Until tomorrow, thank you for joining me. Take care and be healthy.